How long have you lived in this building?
For a year, approximately.
Okay, and what kind of hours do you work?
I work 11 to 7, Your Honor.
The night shift?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what happened?
And so 2 weeks into me moving into the apartment, I hear all this racket. I'm not knowing at that time that it's a guitar. I'm just thinking that it's the neighbors playing loud music. So I left a nice note just saying, hey, you know, I work from this time to this time. If maybe you can give me a grace period, maybe play it at 10 or so, because they have a quiet time in the building, but it's from 9 at night to 9 in the morning.
Right.
Which wouldn't do me any good.
All right, but basically what he's doing is he's playing the guitar at 9 in the morning.
Like clockwork. He never misses a beat, you know, and I tried to do everything I could, especially the note was like, it wasn't anything derogatory. It was just like, hey, you know, we're the only ones that live on this side, you know.
Okay, so what happens?
Well, then I said, hey, look, man, this is getting out of hand. I kept going to management, tried to break my lease. They explained to me what it would cost. And
why? If you can't have peace and quiet, they should let you out of your lease.
Right.
So what'd you do?
So after a little while of going back and forth to work, I started being kind of delusional, you know. I said, you know what, I was telling a friend what was going on, and then he said, hey, listen, they have daytime hotel stays. It's from like 7 or 8 in the morning to like 2 p.m. in the afternoon. Maybe it'll help you out. Did you ever contact the police? No, ma'am.
All right. Did you ever tape it to show it to management?
Yes, I actually have audio for you guys.
Oh, let's hear it. Right, you should be able to break your lease. For real, but that's between you and your landlord. What did you do instead?
I ended up
spending $1,824 in day hotels.
Yes, ma'am, but I found a pretty reasonable place. You know, it wasn't like it was just some extravagant place.
How about taking those funds and moving instead of spending that money on day hotels?
I just didn't have it all at one time.
So this is during the course of what, a year?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and then at the end of the year, you decide to do what? You're going to confront him?
2 weeks into like the last 2 weeks of my lease.
Okay.
You know, I'm there, I'm packing up stuff, and lo and behold, Rockstar here, he's wailing on the guitar.
Okay, right? So what'd you do?
So I went upstairs, knocked on the door, he comes to the door. I was just trying to tell him, like, you know, this isn't the way to go about it from now on. I'm sure you've lived here long, you may live here even longer. And I'm talking to him like that, and he's like, you acting like a Karen. And I'm like, a Karen?
Karen?
Right, so that's ultimately insulting me because I'm a man. So I'm like,
is that why it's insulting?
Oh, it was definitely insulting.
That's not why it should be insulting, because the concept of Karen is that the person's a complainer.
Right.
Go ahead.
I say to him, I say, you know what? First of all, you should get some furniture in your apartment and maybe that dang on amp wouldn't be so loud.
Okay.
He says, well, you must be obsessed with me. I said, obsessed with you? So after that, he's huffing and puffing. You could see him, you look at me, and I said it was either him or the guitar. On my way out, I seen it, it's precious, it's sitting right there. I figured I'd get two weeks of sleep.
And you broke the guitar.
That's right, I got 2 good weeks of sleep before I moved.
Oh my goodness.
That was a bit unexpected. So he went to his neighbor and broke his guitar. First of all, it's not that easy to break a guitar the way it was shown by the neck. He must be a very strong guy. At the same time, I don't understand what the problem was for him to break the lease. Why didn't he call the police? Why didn't he call his landlord and complain about excessive noise? I know we all have our different schedules, but that's the rule of coexisting together. We should respect our boundaries. We should respect our schedules. So to me, it's just one hand washes the other hand, and this is how we are able to live together. Otherwise, you can always move on into your own house with proper acreage and just stay there. Why not? Let's go back into the courtroom.
Let me hear from you, Mr. Cruz.
That is exactly why I am countersuing Mr. Moore today, because here I have the image of my broken guitar. And that guitar costed me a lot of money, and it took a while for me to save up for it, because all I work on throughout the week is as a server.
Had he been texting you and telling you that to please keep it down and whatever?
No, Your Honor, he doesn't have my number, and any notes he would leave me, I would just discard them.
But why though? Don't you want to live amicably with your neighbors?
I don't really, no, I'm in the right here, like I'm not breaking any rules or anything. It's outside of quiet
But it's
time.
pretty loud, right? Even though okay, everybody's obsessed with the quiet time thing, but tell me how it went down in your apartment.
So at first I was practicing with my guitar, and then I heard a knock on the door, and when I opened it and saw it was my neighbor, it caught me completely off guard because I've never spoken to him personally up until that point.
All you've done is ignore his messages.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
and so he has to come in, and I was a little weirded out, so I allowed him inside, and he comes into my room. My living room. He comes in, and then he starts telling me how I should pitch in and pay half of the stuff that he's
The hotel bills?
Exactly, yeah. He's been telling me that I should pay half of it, and I'm not gonna stand by that. You're coming into my house sounding like an entitled Karen. So I called him crazy. He got upset.
Do you think you handled it really well?
Not as great as I could have.
You seem a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Jerky. Because you kind of don't really care if you bother someone else. They're bringing it up to your attention. You have no empathy whatsoever.
Well, no one forced them to live underneath me.
What? No one forced him to live underneath you. If he had called the police and the police were there while you were playing, you would have been told to stop playing. I want you to know that. That's what would have happened because it's excessive noise. Why couldn't you just stop playing while he was sleeping and play at different times?
Well, I don't really get to play at different times because I'm always scheduled for mid-shift at work, so I'm always getting home at 9 p.m., which is the start of the quiet hours. So the only option I really have at that point is just to practice with headphones, which I absolutely despise. So I'd rather practice for 3 hours in the morning.
So you would rather he not sleep for a year than have to use the headphones?
I mean, honestly, it's kind of a personal problem of his that he can't really sleep in the morning, honestly.
Honestly, it's his problem. Let's assume the following situation. You get into a car accident or you get some sort of an injury and you need to go to ER at night, in the middle of the night, let's say 3 in the morning. And here you have a doctor who's half asleep because he has a neighbor who would not stop playing the guitar. And he's being so disrespectful that he wouldn't even listen or just ignore the messages. And you are being worked on by a guy who's with sleep deprivation. How well do you think it's going to go? I don't think it's going to work out to this guy's benefit, to be honest with you. But let's go back into the courtroom.
Well, it's because of the fact that he works a midnight shift. Yes, you're right about that. But it's still not. See, I just wish you had called the police because the police might have done whatever the building wouldn't do, rather than going into his apartment and then busting his guitar, which you have absolutely no legal right to do.
Right.
Right.
I definitely didn't intend to go up there to do that.
But it probably felt good.
It did feel good.
And then you had 2 weeks of sleep.
Right.
Well, okay,
Right.
sometimes we got to pay the piper.
Right.
He says that guitar costs $2,150. What say you to that?
No, so I went to a Luther, which is a really good one too. I didn't just pick any old place, and they do on-me work. That's original parts. It wouldn't be done with aftermarket parts or parts that didn't.
And what would
originally come
so
with it.
meaning that it can be repaired?
Yes, for
Okay.
$545.
But Your Honor, it's not the same. You break it, you buy it, and plus, not to mention, he was literally in my house.
No, but well, you let him into your house, but and he was 100% wrong. He can't break your guitar. Of course, you're right on that. All right, and also he can't really have you pay for his hotel or have me order you to pay for his hotel because you never agreed to pay for his hotel. The way this should have gone down is that you should have some manners and empathy for your neighbors, and you should be calling the police. That's how it should have gone down, but it didn't. So I now just have to call the balls and the strikes that are in front of me. So he sues you for wanting you to pay for his hotel bills. No, of course not. You never agreed to do that. All right? And you sue him for the guitar, and you're right. He shouldn't have broken your guitar. The question is, when you sue for something, you are entitled to have the item put in the condition that it was in beforehand. So if it can be repaired, that is the measure of your damages. If it cannot be repaired, then it's the depreciated value of the item at the time that he broke it. All right. Do you have any proof of what you paid for it?
Yes, I have right here. I have got the invoice.
Thank you.
Also, I did
So
want
he
to
broke it
mention,
right by the neck, right? Yeah, right in half on the neck.
after he broke my guitar, I ended up contacting the police, in which they didn't do anything about it.
So the police did nothing about the breaking of the guitar?
No, Your Honor. I have the police report right here.
Yeah, they told you to go to civil court.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they advised me to do, and then that's when next day I got the news that
He
Mr.
had
Moore.
sued you.
Right.
Oh, you kind of raced to the courthouse?
Right.
Yeah, what do you guys think this is, a race? I rule based on who's right, not on who got here first, but okay. I am impressed by everyone's speed. Mr. Moore, I'm not going to order Mr. Cruz to pay for your stays. This is a very unfortunate situation. You would absolutely have been able to break your lease, and when they tried to sue you for the rest of your lease, you would have played that. But I understand you don't want to be involved in litigation. You don't know what to do. They tell you you can't, so you stay there like a good boy, and then you can lose it in the last 2 weeks when you go up there from the sleep deprivation for a year. But Mr. Cruz, I'll tell you what, looks to me like you can have it fixed for $545. So that's what I'm going to order Mr. Moore to pay you. It is fixable and with new parts. So that's what I'm ordering, $545. Verdict for the defendant.
If the guitar can be fixed, I understand why Judge Millian decided not to go and get the depreciated value of the guitar to the defendant, but instead get the plaintiff to pay for repairs to the guitar. To be honest with you, I don't blame him. I don't blame the plaintiff for acting a little bit irrationally and going to confront this gentleman who's been completely ignoring his messages and his requests for some quiet time in the morning. I can see how he could be probably at the end of his wits at this time, and now he confronts this gentleman who, in his infinite wisdom, decides to insult him rather than actually sit down and have a constructive conversation between two gentlemen. I can see how it could have possibly gone to the point when he saw this guitar and he figured, okay, if I just break it right now, I'm gonna get myself maybe days, weeks of sleep in the morning. And he goes for it. So I cannot really blame him. Yes, it's legally wrong, but as a human being, I completely understand. But what did you guys think about this case? Please put it in the comments below, and thank you for watching.